And welcome back, everybody. I'm going to do another video on the decoding technique for these 6-lever bronze casted padlocks from SLAYMAKER. And this has been kind of like my nemesis as of late. And the reason being is because this last lock that I got, I had to drill a hole in because it was just throwing me through a loop. I couldn't understand why I was able to open this lock in so many different lever tumbler positions. And then after decoding those positions, my keys weren't working. And it was just something happened. And I think it was just from my own abuse that this lock got destroyed. And sometimes you win some and sometimes you lose some. And this was one of my losses. But at the end of the day, I was able to sacrifice it. This is not something I recommend people doing, drilling into locks. But sometimes, if you really plan to pass information along in a positive way to prevent other people from doing it, then I guess in that sense, it's helpful. So, give you a quick rundown on this lock from my last video. I learned that these lever tumblers have 2 gate positions, and what really I found kind of questionable was 5 out of the 6 lever tumblers are basically extra deep cuts requiring absolutely no lever movement. There's only one lever tumbler that has to be moved about, I don't know, 0.100 of an inch in order to align itself with the gate and the fence. And for that, I figured something can't be right. I can't believe a company would create such a weak bidding for a master key. And I figured that can't be right. But from all practical purposes, the gates all look like the same depth. So I thought maybe they were some sort of trick gate. And I'm not throwing that possibility out. I'm still skeptical of it. So when I got this lock open, I came up with a new decoding technique for measuring the distance between the bottom of the barrel and the edge of the lever tumbler using a tumbler trapping tool, and that's this tool right here. This lock is also discussed in my second book, The Extreme Antique Padlock Collector, but I'm using a different technique there. You'll just have to read up on that if you want to learn about it. So in any case, this tool gives me the ability to precisely adjust this hook tool in precise elevation to align itself with each lever tumbler. And once I trap that tumbler, I use a Z-wire like this and insert it, and I do those measurements at the 11 o'clock position. And I want to tell you that when you do take your measurements, the wires will fit not very snugly. There's going to be about a 20-degree flex in either up and down position. Usually when I take gap reads, I want a really tight vertical read coming out of the barrel. But no, these are kind of sloppy and they fit kind of really loose. So this is probably one of the loosest decode I've ever had to do on a lever tumbler stack before, but that's just the way it is. If you go too tight, then you're going to not be able to open the lock. So let's talk about the bit changes on these locks. Turns out that the total key width is going from memory 0.375 across, and that gives you the no cut. So each additional cut can be in 0.050 inch increments. Fortunately for me, I got another lock, and this is a lock I got right here, and there wasn't too many different bit changes, so that gave me some nice validation. Talk about this lock. The original owner really polished it to hell. I don't like when people do that, but I really wanted it just merely for the ability to prove my latest technique, and I received this lock in the lock position. This is stamped S12 at the top, and it says GNRY, looks like Great Northern Railway. Yeah, the original electroplating has been completely removed from this lock. I've gotten these locks where you can see the original electroplating, and they're beautiful. So I hate it when people do this. If you're going to polish anything, guys, do it to the key that you make. And this is the key that I made right here. This is made out of beryllium bronze. It's not made out of cheap brass. I can't stand working with brass anymore. I love bronze. It's just a more it's just a better product. First of all, it's self-lubricating. It's great for impressioning, and it has the strength. So yeah, I was able to decode this lock using my latest tumbler trapping tool, and it worked quite well. Let me give you a demonstration of this lock, if I can do it with one hand while I'm holding the camera. And let's see here. Works great, really well. Let me talk about the bidding on this key some more. Yeah, it turns out that lever tumbler 1 was a no cut, and lever tumbler 2 was a .050 difference, and lever tumbler 3 and 4 were no cut, and lever tumbler 5 was a .050 inch depth cut, and lever tumbler 6 was a .100 depth cut. So if you're ever decoding this lock, or these type of locks, perhaps my cuts would be very informative for anybody in the future. This is a really cool technique using this tumbler trapping tool. And again, I just want to revisit this this whole problem with these strange master key tumblers that I encountered with my prior lock, and turns out this one has it too. And when I inserted my tool, I couldn't believe how easy I was able to elevate this thing up and down, and it only trapped in one place. That's because there's one tumbler that all you got to do is just pick it, and this lock would open. And I haven't proven that to myself because I'm a little cynical about why a manufacturer would put such a weak bidding for a master key. I mean, that just makes no sense. I thought maybe it was some sort of false gating system that they did that would prevent the lock from opening, possibly even destroying the lock. I didn't want to take any chances. So what I did, and what I'm going to recommend, just to play it safe, because I know this worked, when you do this decoding technique, take the higher elevation read. That means that the gate would rest lower, more towards the 4 o'clock position, as opposed to the 3 o'clock position. So just completely ignore that initial depth cut, or that initial tumbler or gate cut. Just completely ignore it. And if you do that, take the secondary read, you're going to have success. And again, I can't discount the possibility that these locks would still open if I ever wanted to pick it. But every time you stick a wire in these locks, guys, you know, you're chiseling something. You're removing material. Something gets chafed. I don't like tearing up my tumblers. I don't like doing too much probing. And, you know, I like a clean lock on the inside as well. Anyway, I'm very happy with the result, and this is something that, you know, if I had to revise my second book, I would definitely put this technique in there. But the second book offers some really challenging ways for decoding these locks using a secondary technique, and you'll just have to buy the book if you want to learn more about it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and have a great day.